DPI buttons replaced by AI buttons, the subscription-based Forever mouse, and a string of releases that feel really out of touch with the current gaming market have a lot of us asking, what is going on over at Logitech? Let's talk about it. So back in August of 2018, 6 years ago, Logitech launched the G Pro Wireless, and it introduced competitive-grade wireless performance to market for the first time. That was true innovation, and that's a word you could use to describe a lot of Logitech's efforts in the gaming space over the past few years. The PowerPlay desk mat that continually charged your wireless mice is a great example. The G Pro X Superlight, a product launched 4 years ago, is still considered one of the current standards in competitive mice. We started to see some cracks in their game with the latest G502 refreshes, the Superlight 2, and especially the Pro X TKL Lightspeed keyboard. But the product releases and a few of the social posts we've seen from them recently have really cemented a feeling that they're totally out of touch with the gaming market. The recently released Pro X60 keyboard missed the mark entirely. Did they just miss Hall effect, or even worse, did they see it and dismiss it as a passing trend? It's like somebody looked at the keyboard market and said, oh, the Wooting 60HE is the most hyped keyboard over the past 2 years. It must be because it's a 60% keyboard. The 60% layout is a lot of people's least favorite thing of the Wooting 60HE. You buy that board for 1, performance, and 2, customization, and the Pro X 60% has none of that. Instead, they give you wireless and a volume wheel for the same cost. It's a product that feels 4 to 5 years old at launch. The G515 low-profile keyboard fares a little better. It's basically a lower-cost version of the G915 that's been in market for ages with no refresh. This board's not going to appeal to the performance gaming crowd, and it's not going to appeal to the custom keyboard crowd. This is more for like the walk into a Best Buy and grab something that doesn't look too juvenile type. My biggest gripe for this one is they deleted the roller in the top right corner, which is one of the best parts of the G915. I sat in on the product briefing for this, and one of the major marketing points they had was that these keycaps no longer break when you try to remove them. The G309 mouse is an example of them trying to fix something that's not broken. This is supposed to be the modernized G305. That's a mouse that was loved for its shape and its budget-friendly price point. The G309 comes in $20 higher than the launch price of the G305. It adds Bluetooth and PowerPlay compatibility, but it completely destroys the shape, in my opinion. Gone is the classic egg shape with the wraparound ledge that made it easy to lift off, and now we've got big flat sides and a shape that feels way too safe and way harder to lift off. A lot of us have been waiting for a super light version of the G703, and we got this instead. Now, if there's a positive to all this, it's that unlike its competitors, Logitech continues to manufacture and stock its older models if you don't like the new ones. Even today, you can still buy the original G Pro Wireless. But this direction they're heading in feels really weird, really off, and it begs the question, why? Why does a company that makes some of the best-selling gaming mice of all time, a trusted brand in the gaming peripheral space, feels so out of touch with the current gaming market? One potential theory is the change in leadership. It's easy to think of these brands as big faceless companies, but you have to remember the impact that talented individuals can make inside an organization like this. By now, you've probably seen or heard the interview where new Logitech CEO Hanneke Faber describes her truly awful concept of the Forever mouse, where you buy hardware once and then pay a subscription for ongoing support via software updates. That sounds like something that would be forced upon us in some dystopian future versus something that anyone would voluntarily support. Luckily, at this point, it's just a concept. I can't imagine the outrage if somebody like Wooting or Razer decided to paywall new software features instead of just supporting the hardware that we purchased in the first place. A lot of what we've come to appreciate from Logitech occurred from 2013 to 2023 under previous CEO Bracken Darrell. But there's another name you might be less familiar with, and that's Logitech's previous chief design officer, a guy named Alistair Curtis. Before Logitech, he climbed the ranks at Nokia, moving from designer to chief designer, senior vice president from 1993 to 2009. See, prior to 2013, Logitech mainly relied on external design studios, but Bracken gave Alistair the ability to establish a global design team at Logitech. That run kicked off every iconic design you become familiar with, starting with the G502 in 2014. That mouse definitely has some haters in the modern era, but a decade after it launched, it's still the #1 selling gaming mouse in the world. So that 10-year period is the window that birthed every Logitech mouse design you know and love, and that's not only reflected in customer sentiment, that's reflected in sales growth and market share as well. Back in 2013, gaming accounted for about $142 million a year of their total $1.8 billion in net sales. That number would only continue to grow by a decent margin every year, with 2018 being a really solid breakout year. Probably not a coincidence that the G Pro X Superlight dropped that year. 2017 saw roughly $314 million in gaming sales. 2018 saw that skyrocket to $492 million, then again to $648 million the following year. year. 2019 is where we start to see gaming taking over as Logitech's #1 market segment. 2020, of course, saw COVID and still saw some growth to $690 million. 21 and 22 saw the work from home boom, and that's where we see gaming absolutely go into the stratosphere, with sales hitting $1.24 billion in 2021, and that's just from gaming. The next year brought us $1.45 billion. Even in 2023, where we saw sales pull back across all sectors, gaming still held strong at $1.2 billion, still their largest market segment. From all that, we can conclude two things. Number one, gaming isn't just a major pillar of Logitech's operations, it is the big show when it comes to how they make their money. And number two, even with the big bump from COVID and work from home that had people spending way more time at their desks, the combination of Bracken and Alistair was immensely successful in bringing new products and innovation to market that translated directly into sales growth across that entire 10-year period. Now, in fairness to Hanneke, she does understand that gaming is vital to Logitech's bottom line and continues to be a growing market globally. In her words, it's one of the three main tailwinds of our core business. That is, alongside personal workspace, traditional mice and keyboards, and video conferencing rolled into new ways of working post-COVID, and the third being AI. So she understands the importance of the market, but doesn't seem to understand the market itself. Speaking on gaming, she dropped the gem that it's no longer just teenage boys, which feels super out of touch. I don't think that's been the case for at least the past 10 years. Understand, that's not a knock on her capabilities. It's fine for the CEO of a major global consumer electronics brand to not be intimately familiar with gaming culture. I wouldn't expect it. CEOs are big picture players. And Hanneke Faber has a really impressive track record in beauty, e-commerce, and most recently in global foods with Unilever. So I wouldn't expect her to have her finger on the pulse of gaming, but somebody on the team needs to. Bracken had Alistair, who was a beast in design. He capped off his career at Logitech by bringing home the Design Team of the Year 2023 from Red Dot. That role at Logitech is currently filled by Malin Leshley, and so far we've seen continued commitment to the sustainable practices that Bracken brought in. That's good. But I think it's fair to say that we're not seeing products that are particularly exciting to the gaming community from a technical standpoint. We're not feeling innovation right now. We're feeling empty rehashes, or in some cases, outright confusion. Now, it could be that the previous leadership just ran dry on ideas and departed to find a new challenge. Or it could be that the current leadership is too focused on other areas of the business, too far removed from gaming culture to be effective, or just not listening to the market. Look at the brands right now that are innovating or producing exciting stuff. For me, it's Wooting, it's Razer, it's Asus. A major thing they all have in common is that they're listening to the market and responding. Now, to be fair, Razer did stumble a little bit with that Cobra Mini debacle, but they got right back on track. Logitech has always been a brand that a lot of us have depended on and trusted for the bulk of our gaming career, and I'm just not a fan of the direction that they're going in right now. It's clear that they have a very talented team in place, but they desperately need someone in a role that truly understands the gaming market, because I can't see them surviving for long in this market segment the way they're going. We don't want our DPI buttons swapped out for AI buttons, and we damn sure don't want subscription-based hardware. We want performance, quality, and innovation, the things that Logitech used to be known for.